or more than of that particular price change, the demand will create in the substitutable commodity. Such kind of commodities called as weak substitutes, but if you see the degree of responsiveness, it will be equal or less. But certain commodities for close substitutes, when the price of this change in the substitutable commodity, if you see the increase in quantity demand of alternate commodity, that is the substitutable commodity, it will increase like anything. That means suppose 10% increase in the price of commodity A will reflect more than that of on commodity B. So such kind of substitution called as close substitutes. Certain substitutes are weak substitutes, which is having more reflection, that is called as close substitutes. Even some of the close substitutes like rice and wheat, we can take it as close substitutes. Then whichever the commodity is having very greater impact of the relative commodity price. So we'll check both the weak and close substitute with the example of the graphical representation. Here we know what is the formula for the cross elasticity of demand. Cross elasticity of demand, we are using it technically, it is called as X over here. X is nothing but the cross. So cross elasticity of demand, and if it is an income elasticity of demand, we'll technically use Y. So the cross elasticity of demand refers to percentage change in quantity demanded of good A with respect to percentage change in price of good B. Yes. Now we are going to apply. We are going to take two examples. One is tea and coffee, another one is Costa and Starbucks. Any close substitutes we can take. Either since it is an example from one of the foreign database, that is why it is they are given on the basis of the foreign economics help. Okay. Now we are going to check the weak substitutes of tea and coffee. Price of tea we are taking it on y-axis. Then quantity demanded, not tea, the quantity demanded of coffee we are taking it over here. So the price of tea and quantity demanded of coffee. Why we are taking, sir, previous example and all in diagram we have taken price of the commodity and quantity demand of the commodity, because there we studied the relationship between the price of that particular commodity and quantity demanded of a particular commodity. But here in the cross elasticity of demand, we are measuring price of one commodity and change in quantity demanded of and substitutable other commodity. Now we are going to check. In the previous example, in the previous class, we have discussed about the substitutable price of tea and quantity demanded of a coffee. Now I am just going to repeat the same. When the price of tea increases from 1.2 to 1.5, price change having certain percentage, and because of this change in price of tea, what will happen to the demand for the coffee?
Increases.
Yes, very good. So the demand for coffee has increased from 200 to 210, quantity 200 to 210. Now if we measure the 1.2 to 1.5, what is the percentage change? It was a, what is the percentage change? 200 point? No, 0.3, it's not percentage, that is quantity. 1.2 to 1.5, change is 0.3. What is the percentage?
25%.
Anyone can calculate and tell me? (1.2 to 1.5). That is a point.
25%. Yeah.
Sorry?
25%.
25%. Very good. So what is the change in the quantity demanded of a coffee? 200 to 210. It is 5%.
Yes, sir. 5%.
Yes, 5%. So now 25% change in price of tea. I mean increase in the price of tea. 25% increase in the price of tea has reflected 5% increase in the quantity demand for coffee. That is, I'm just taking an example. It may differs in time to time. It differs in, so for example, in summertime, it won't change much. But in winter time and rainy season, it will change more than that of also, right? And even for the states like hot states, change will be lesser. The chill states like Kashmir, that will change more. So it is not only restricted with the nature of the commodity, the other variables also will influence. So that this number, we are just taking example to demonstrate what is the degree of relationship. If this is happens, when the price of tea has increased so much, 25%, and the change in the demand for coffee has increased by 10%, then it will be called as weak substitutes. And weak substitutes maybe for tea and coffee may prevails in Bangalore, but the same degree, if we check it in, I'm sorry, this weak substitute may happen in Hyderabad and Chennai because their climate is hot. But this may be strong substitutes in Kashmir or in Bangalore. That you have to keep it in mind, students. You're following with me, I hope. Students, can I repeat once again?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So here what we are measuring is about weak substitutes. The tea and coffee is taken as an example to demonstrate weak substitutes. But in reality, if you measure only, we'll come to know this example is weak substitute or strong substitute. Here, for demonstration purpose, we have assumed that tea and coffee is having weak substitute. Then what is the meaning of weak substitutes? Where the price of substitutable commodities increased by bigger percentage of 25. Because of this increase in the higher percentage of 25% in the price of tea will reflect a very small 5% of increase in quantity demanded of a coffee. In such case, it will be termed as weak substitutes. That is clear, no?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes. So what is the thumb rule for weak substitute? The price change of a commodity will be greater and quantity demanded of a substitutable commodity is lesser. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, in the same way, we are taking the another two substitutable commodity. What is happens here? Price has increased by 2.4 to 2.7. Now, what is the percentage over here? Can someone calculate and tell me? 2.4 to 2.7?
12.5%.
Okay, round off, we can take it
13.
13%. Fine. So 13% increase in the price of a commodity, substitutable commodity, we are going to check what is the reflection is happening on the substitutable commodity quantity demanded from 200 to 290. That is almost some 45%. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, 45% increase in the quantity demanded. One small change, 13% of the change is happening on a price of a substitutable commodity leads to a very great change of 45% in the substitutable commodity quantity demanded, then it will be termed as close substitutes. The reflection is small and the price change is big, weak substitutes. Price change is small, but the reflection is so high, that means close substitutes. That is one learning outcome from this diagram. Clear, students? This one is clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So yeah, here answer also is there. Yeah, I forgot to see this one. Okay. So what is our formula is percentage change in quantity demanded of a good A. What is the percentage change in quantity demanded of good A for weak substitutes?
5.
5. So it is written 5. And percentage change in the price of good B is 25. So 5 divided by 25 is equal to 0.2 is the cross elasticity of demand for this example. And the percentage change in quantity demand of a commodity A is 45 here. And what is the percentage change in the price of good? So price in the sense here. So price is 12.5. So the answer is the price, the cross elasticity of demand is equal to 3.6. Okay. Now, up to this clear, students?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now we have a question. Sir, in the previous things, we have seen the demand curve slopes downwards from left to right. And you have also told, we have also discussed, there is an exceptional case for the demand curve where the demand curve is having an upward slope. For certain superior commodities, you told the when the price of the gold increases, the demand will also increase. The same kind only will happen here. Here, the relationship between price and quantity demanded of a same commodity is having inverse relationship, and price of A and quantity demanded of B, if you measure, that shows a positive relationship, because when the price of T increases, that will result in increase in the quantity demanded of commodity B, coffee. Whether it is slightly increasing or greatly increasing, that is secondary. But what happens here, when the price of a commodity increases, the same commodity quantity demanded will decline. But if we check the substitutable commodity status, the substitutable commodity demand will increase with certain assumptions. What are the assumptions? Other things keeping constant. Other things, what are the keeping constant? We have to keep the substitutable commodity price as constant. Here, suppose, sir, when the price of tea you told increases, demand for tea declines. But we are not in cross elasticity of demand, we are not measuring the relationship between price of the particular commodity and demand for the particular commodity. We are measuring price of one commodity and demand for another commodity. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. But now the price of this commodity, commodity A increases. You are saying the quantity demand for commodity B is increasing. But what I am saying is, if the price of both tea and coffee increases, what will happen? You got it?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'm asking that question. If you ask, I would have been answered it. Now I asked, you can answer. Yes, Niveda. You have Adil Shah. Yes, anyone? Pawan, Gautam. Anyone can answer. Understood the question?
Can you repeat once more?
Yes, sure. Price of commodity A increases. Price of commodity A increases. The quantity demand for commodity B increases. So if we measure the percentage change in quantity demanded of a commodity A, percentage change in the price of good B, vice versa, we'll get the cross elasticity of demand. Now my question is, sir, you told the price of good B has increased. Because of that, good A's demand has increased. Price of B increases, good B quantity demand increases. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In diagram also I will tell you. Price of tea increases. This arrow. Quantity demanded of coffee also increases. Now I am telling you, sir, what happen if the price of A also increases?
The demand will be same for both. It will be distributed.
How it will same if you apply law of demand?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
sorry. Depending on the price, like how much for what is the difference that has been increased
that?
for both the product?
Who is talking? I could not able to
Ishwari, sir.
this. If possible, I'm not compelling you. If possible, you unmute and unmute your video and ask me
Yes, one.
if your internet permits stability is there. Okay. Yes, please. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead. Go.
So yes, sir. Now, depending on the product, like product A and product B, both is increasing. On what range it will increase? That might differ. If product A is increasing for 20% and
Mhm.
product B is increasing for 10%, the
Mhm.
demand will increase for that quantity. I mean, product which will increase for 10%.
Yeah, that is right. What your statement is 100% true. There is no second thought about it. But what is my question is, what that is what I told. What I told is what the theory is telling. When the price of commodity A increases, the price of the demand for commodity definitely it will fall. Same commodity it will fall. Am I right? Price of A increases, the demand for the same commodity will fall. That is what, as a consumer, I have an option of substitutes. I'll move for substitutes. Substitutable commodity B. Right? What will happen in general because of this increase in price of commodity A or commodity X, some commodity X, it is influencing me to push to buy more of commodity B or Y because the price remains unchanged for the alternate commodity, right? Otherwise, why I have to go? Because I'm getting the benefit of the constant price. That is the advantage as a rational consumer. My question is, suppose if the alternative commodity, both coffee and tea price has increased, what will happen to quantity demanded of both A and B? I mean,
At that time, we can consider other determinants of demand rate. So
Both will reduce.
if there's increase in input
Other
and
determinants being constant, the demand will also be increased, sir.
yeah.
So you're saying if both the price of the commodities has increased,
It will reduce.
it will reduce both the coffee and tea, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, of course. Suppose in case of substitutional commodities, if the price of both the commodities is increased simultaneously, it will result in the decline of both the commodities. Quantity demanded will decline in both the commodities. That is why I told it is not the exception for law of demand, but we are not measuring the same commodity price and same commodity quantity demanded. But here what we are measuring, one commodity price and substitutable commodity, the another commodity quantity demanded. That is why if you see here, the demand curve slopes upwards. Have you seen? You're following the mouse?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, that is why in case if you are measuring the price and quantity demanded of a same commodity, will it be the slope of the demand curve?
No, sir.
No, it will be a downward sloping. And since we are measuring price of a different commodity and the quantity demanded of a different commodity, so that is why it is showing a positive relationship, and that is why the slope of the demand curve is upward sloping. Okay, and here we can able to see the steepness in the slope of the demand curve. So if the steep is so steep, well, then what is the elasticity type it is? What is the slope of this demand curve?
Inelastic.
Just inelastic or relatively inelastic?
Relatively inelastic.
Very good, Jayashree. So it is relatively inelastic. If it is more flatter, what is the Jayashree, what is the justification for this steepness? If the elasticity is having lesser degree of responsiveness than the price.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if the price elasticity is greater than lesser than the 1, I mean, if it is lesser than 1, then it is steepness. If it is greater than 1, here what we get? Answer is
Relatively elastic.
relatively elastic. Why? What is the reason?
It is
It is
greater than
greater
1.
than 1, sir.
The elasticity is greater than 1. Here answer is 3.6. And what is the slope of this demand line?
Flatter.
More flatter. And what is the slope? That is, the degree is flatter. What is the slope? Upward sloping demand curve. So while we are writing the justification or explanation of the diagram, we have to write in this manner. First, we have to write the meaning of cross elasticity of demand, and we have to write the formula for obtaining the cross elasticity of demand. After that, we have to tell in cross elasticity of demand measuring, we can also measure with weak substitutes and close substitutes. with the example of the weak substitute, how we can obtain the weak substitutes, where there is a greater change in the price with small change, I mean the small changes in the quantity demanded with a greater change in the price. That means the slope of the demand curve is upwards and it is more steeper than the more steeper demand curve, and it is having a positive relationship between price of tea and the quantity demand of coffee. And if you check, the percentage of price of tea is greater and the percentage of change in the quantity demand of coffee is lesser. And the elasticity of this demand curve is relatively inelastic demand curve. And with respect to the closed substitutes, the change in the price of the one commodity, substitute commodity, is having a lesser change, lesser increase, and it has resulted in a very great change in the quantity demanded of a commodity, the substitute commodity, and so that the demand curve slopes upwards, because so both are having a proportionate relationship. This is also increased, this is also increased. The percentage change in the commodity A and percentage change in the commodity B, both are increasing in the same way, so that the positive relationship has been found. And if you see the slope of the demand curve, the degree of responsiveness is relatively
Hi, sir.
relatively high or relatively elastic. So it is also evident on the diagram. The percentage change in the price of commodity is lesser, and the degree of responsiveness on the quantity demanded is 45%. So that the relatively elastic demand has been found with a result of 3.6, which is more than 1.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
With the weak substitutes and closed substitutes. So
Yes.
we are checking tea and coffee, right? When there's a increase in the price of tea and coffee are going, but then I don't think so. We will be seeing this
Yes,
effect.
for us, yeah, for us.
If I'm a coffee lover, if there is an increase in one coffee, I'll go to another coffee only, which is less.
Yes. But in this example, they have given weak substitutes. We can rename anything.
Okay, sir. Okay.
For example, while you are finding out, if you see the Horlicks and Boost, if you measure, if the Boost Horlicks price is gone like anything, I mean, we'll take 100% change. Horlicks half kg, 300. Now it's become 600 rupees. What will happen to the people? But Boost price remains unchanged. What will happen generally?
In this case, they will move to Boost only.
Yeah, definitely they will move to Boost. But that is one segment. In the same question, same thing, I will tell you one example. Lux and Hammam, the substitutes are not. Lux soap and Hammam soap.
Yeah, closely substitute.
Close substitute. Suppose if Lux price increased to 40 rupees to 50 rupees or 60 rupees, will anybody will immediately will move to Hammam?
No, sir.
Because it is create some skin issues, so that nobody will move. Sir, here also substitutes, but substitutes will be there, but it's a weak substitute. Immediately it won't reflect, but there may be a reflection. But people who are having limited budget, those people will move. But majority of the people, they won't move because it's a weak substitute. I hope you got.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good. So income elasticity also we have derived. Income elasticity, if you want, we can draw the diagram. Depends upon the income and taking the relationship of income and demand, and it is evidently we can able to show what would be the slope of the demand curve, whether it is a downward sloping or upward sloping for income elasticity of the demand.
Upward, sir.
Yes, upward, because both are proportionately related. Okay, only few students are responding immediately. Others are, I don't know. Can everyone enable your video, please? Yes, Soshin Sethi, you are following with me. You have any question?
No, sir, I'm following, sir.
Fine.
Okay. So, do we have to maintain any separate notes, or once we or else once we have access to the
Yeah,
LMS,
all the notes is available in the LMS. You don't worry about the notes. All
sir.
study materials, everything I have uploaded in the LMS.
Okay,
All
sir.
PPT.
So we can make it Xerox, right, sir?
Yeah, printout you can take it.
Yes, okay. Sir.
Yeah, and Parmila Uttam, you are following?
Yes, sir.
You have any questions?
No, sir, nothing for now.
No questions. Fine. Yes, Tasneem Firdaus, you're following?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any questions, doubts, clarification? You can ask. We have another time is there, no? 3 to 3:50, no?
Yes, sir.
We have 10 more minutes. Yes, if you want to ask any questions, you can ask me. Or else I will ask you, we'll have a discussion. Syed?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask any question?
Sure, sir.
Sure, okay. Define managerial economics.
Okay. So, managerial economics is the study of, getting to know the perspective of rising demands or decrease the demands in accordance to people's choices or reference.
Okay, good. Okay. Satish? Satish immediately disappeared. Deepak? Deepak, am I audible, Deepak? Deepak?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, Deepak. Deepak, you have studied economics in your EUG?
No.
No. Okay, then you tell me what is law of demand.
Law of demand, sir. Other things remain constant when
Correct. You started with correct. Other things remain constant. What is the relationship between price and quantity demanded?
when price increases, demand decreases.
Perfect. Vice versa. Good. Then why only few students have others? Please listen. Those who have not enabled their video, I will not mark present. This is very clear because I am not asking you to every time to switch on your video. Only for discussion. For discussion also, if you are not enabling, then it is not good. Yes, Sai Tanish,
Yes, sir.
you have any question?
No, sir. No, sir.
No. Everything understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me what is elasticity?
Degree of change in demand, sir,
Yes.
due to various reasons.
I'm sorry. I didn't get your point.
The degree of change, in demand, sir,
Very good.
due
Very
to
good. Very
various
good.
reasons.
Perfect. Perfect. That is the perfect answer. The degree of change in quantity demanded with respect to change in the price. Good.
Sir, sorry
Yes.
to interrupt.
Yes. Yes.
I just wanted to know, like, for inferior goods, how can you just give an example and tell us how it is having a negative impact? I mean, it's an inverse relationship.
For inferior good.
Yeah, on the
No.
cross price elasticity of demand.
No. You want to answer for inferior good or?
Sir, okay, let's have for inferior goods how it is being affected
For inferior good.
as in substitute.
You're talking about substitutable commodity for inferior goods.
Yes, sir.
So the price and quantity demanded for inferior good. Suppose if the price of one commodity increases, that will be resulted in increase of the other commodity, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you please name any two of the inferior commodity which is having close substitutes? So with the same example, we can take it forward.
Can we have dal?
Dal and?
Different types of dal.
Different types of dal. For example, we'll take masoor dal and tur dal.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh yes, of course, both are inferior in nature, right? So now, suppose if the price of dur dal increases, the rational consumer, for higher end consumers, they won't worry about increase in the price. They will continue to buy the same quantity of tur dal. But the lower income people, when there is, because the reflection is more happen for lower income group only with respect to the inferior goods. The price of increase in inferior commodity, which is having the option of substitutability between the one dal to another dal, definitely the demand for the price increase in tur dal will decline the demand for tur dal and enhance the demand for masoor dal. So in this case, the price, when we measure the cross elasticity of demand for cross elasticity of demand for increase in masoor dal and increase in the price of tur dal, then the elasticity will be positive. The slope of the demand curve will also be positive. So increase in tur dal will leads to increase in the quantity demand of a masoor dal.
Okay, so this is in respect to the price, but for income, it is opposite, right?
Income, when income increases, the quantity demand will increase, but both will increase. But in income and quantity demanded, we are measuring both the same variable. For example, I am the consumer. You are taking my income for measurement, my quantity demand for measurement. That is income elasticity. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Here, the consumer, I am not changing. Commodity, it's not changing. Only my income is changing. Whereas in cross elasticity of demand, the consumer same, consumer income is same, but price of one commodity increases, and we are not measuring the quantity demanded of a same commodity, but we are measuring the quantity demanded of a substitutable commodity.
Okay, sir. So in any case, we cannot keep everything in changing motion. Something should be constant.
No, not something. When you are measuring two variables, you have to see the changes of two variables. All the other variables, we have to assume that constant.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Whatever you are measuring.
But in reality,
yes, please.
Can you just repeat the point, sir? I didn't understand it.
Who's talking?
Ishwari, sir.
When we are measuring any kind of cause and effect in economics, especially with respect to microeconomic concept, we have many variables. For example, demand, when we measure, price is there, price of the related commodities are there, income of the consumer is there, taste and preference is there, government policy is there. That is what in the previous class also I told. When we want to measure the relationship between two variables, example, demand and price. Example, quantity demand and income. Example, quantity demand and price of the alternative commodities. Example, demand and taste and preference. Example, demand and taste and preference. If you want to measure one into one variable, you can take two variable, but you have to keep all the variables constant. Otherwise, we cannot able to apply the rules. We could not able to measure any cause and effect. One example I will tell you. Suppose, as I told, suppose you are measuring price and quantity demanded. What is the relationship between price and quantity demanded?
If price increases.
yes, sir.
Directly proportional.
Directly or indirectly? Adil. Adil.
Sir,
Direct or indirect?
directly proportional.
How? If both the variables are moving in the same direction, that is directly proportionate. If both the variables are moving in a different direction, that is inversely. If you take an example of price and quantity demanded, both will not move in the same direction. Price will go on up. If price goes in upper direction, demand will go in downward direction. So this is what everyone is accepting. But in the same time, my income also increases. Price increases, demand falls. Accepted. In the same time period, price increases, my income also increases. What will happen to the quantity demand?
Will increase.
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 Will increase. Then how we can apply the law of demand there? We could not apply. We cannot measure the real time the impact of price and quantity demanded. If you want to measure the real time impact of degree of responsiveness which is happen on the quantity demanded with respect to the price or income or price of the related commodities or taste and preference or government policy or climatic condition, geographical condition, everything we have to keep it constant if you want to check the relationship of two variables. Got it? Niveta,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Ishwari,
Yes, sir.
everyone. Gautam,
Yes, sir.
got it?
Yes, sir.
Dhanush, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Harta, I hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Okay, after this, I'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, fine.